Hello and welcome to Shania Live. This is Garage 101 and this is Vignesh from TryCarPal.com. We are a virtual dealership selling new cars online. I am joined by my friend Rajiv.
Yeah, hi, my name is Rajiv and we are from a company called CarGreetings.com, India's first exclusive automotive greetings. And today we have something extremely special to share with you guys, and that is the Nissan
Magnite. So the Nissan Magnite is a car that's not hit the roads yet. It's not launched yet. The bookings also aren't open yet.
But some people have got the
There's
luck
a lot
of actually driving the car.
excitement around the car.
I was talking about you, so
Yeah. So let's talk about the Nissan Magnite.
The Nissan Magnite
Yeah.
has done a great job in a lot of spaces in the segments that are being offered by other competition.
True, yeah.
You know, and what also made me happy is that you actually got a chance to drive it, and so I really want to know.
It was good. We should talk about that.
Yes, we will
But
get there.
How is the Nissan Magnite going to be a plus one there, or is it going to be in a completely different sphere within that space?
One thing Nissan I feel has kind of been struggling with is the market share.
True.
It needs the market share, and it's desperate for the market share, and has to happen with the Magnite. And I think there's a good chance it will happen, because from what you have driven, from what I have seen the car and got a chance to practically view the car, I have seen that there are things which are first in segment also.
Best in segment.
Yeah, best in segment.
So I think what Nissan is trying to do with the Magnite is to try and make it a sub segment. Talking about ground clearance.
Yeah.
205 millimeters.
Surprised by that.
Yeah. So it's going to be fairly high off the ground. Also, not too class leading. I think it's safe to say that speed breakers, you don't have to worry too much about them. Potholes, not to worry at all. It's only those really bad, rugged roads that you may want to keep a watch for. But yes, I think not too much to worry there.
Yes.
Right.
Talking about the boot space, the first thing I ask about, when we talk about cars is, what is the boot space like? How many, I would say, full-sized luggage
Bags, yeah. No,
bags.
it makes a lot of sense. I think that should be the new metric for measuring boot space, right? Because when you talk about boot space in volume and in liters, we're looking at around 336.
36 liters.
Yeah, so that's not too bad, not too less. It's something like a hatchback, but I think when we saw the car, right? So what works for the Magnite when it comes to boot area is the loading lip. Right, so you're looking at you don't have to carry your suitcase all the way up and then chunk them and drop them. And you're looking at.
I just sorry to interrupt, but so the loading lip, just for those of you who might be wondering what that term is, it's a jargon that we very much use in the automotive.
It sounds bad, but
yes. But the loading lip is basically how far you have to. So it's the bumper and the boot, where they connect, where they meet each other.
Correct.
And how high is it from the ground? So if you say the loading lip is high, you'll have to lift up your luggage.
So there's a lot more effort from your side to lift up your bag and then.
Yes.
But the thing I want to highlight is the amount of space on offer, right?
Yeah.
Because space is something like in a compact SUV, it's hard to get. You have so many SUVs out there with very little space. There is no SUV. I think I can say that there's no compact SUV out there which can seat 5. And I think I should also talk about the front seats, right?
Okay.
Because we're looking at, in small compact cars, you're almost brushing elbows, especially on the armrest and all those things, right?
Yeah.
Here there is a decent amount of space even between the driver and the co-driver seat.
Oh, okay.
So it feels
like a
bigger car, right? And even the door, when you have the bottle holders, you have good amount of space. I mean, I drive a Polo and there is hardly any space. It's not a practical car at the same time.
Instrument cluster comes where the speedometer.
Yeah.
Now it's got a 7-inch monitor in place of all of that. Gives a lot of information. For some reason,
I would still believe that having a digital instrument cluster is one way of cutting costs, because it's going to be one rectangle, just giving you more and more and more
sad thing
computerized
is now we have
information.
another screen to fix if it cracks, So that's the sad part. What I also like is now Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you do not have to connect a cable all the way to the street. It's wireless. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But what are the other features that you have seen when you were driving?
I think that's a big advantage, right? And
Wireless charging.
wireless charging,
Is it
exactly. That's
available
what
across all segments?
it's going to be given as an option. There's something called a tech pack. They may
Right.
call it something else later, but that's going to be as an option to the top variant. So it's like an add-on.
You know, I can imagine myself driving with all these features, and then you touch the button and you open the sunroof, and you know.
Sunroof.
There is a sunroof, obviously, right? There is no sunroof.
That's the disappointment there, Rajiv. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay, so let's put it this way, right?
When every other
when
compact SUV
every other compact SUV has it. Every other compact SUV has a sunroof. Okay, the good thing here is that there's also a 360 cam. They call it the around view monitor. So it's got like tiny cameras in the front, in the rear, and below the outer rear view mirrors, right? And that's giving you a projected image of what's just exactly immediately around you.
On the top end.
Yeah, it's giving you a bird's eye view.
I'm still getting over
it's-
the no sunroof part, but
it's the only compact SUV to have that feature, the around view monitor.
Oh, really? Okay.
But it's also the only compact SUV to not have the sunroof, which I think is a sizable disappointment for a lot of people.
I like the design overall inside. I
Yeah.
love the diamond shaped AC vents and
Well,
the
that's
design.
sweet. Yeah, that's
they try,
very good.
they try to be a little different when it comes to the design of stand out from the other thing.
Even if you see the seats, they have amazing stitching and all that to give
yeah,
you the
yeah,
premium
yeah,
feel.
rating.
It's a mix of fabric and leatherette, right? Artificial leather.
Right.
But the thing is, they have lock that is there. It's this. It was like it felt like suddenly I'm in a Maruti 800, right? You had those small stand-up locks.
Oh, it is still
Yeah, that felt like a compromise to me.
Okay.
So whatever is slightly, invisible to you as a driver or as an occupant in the car, has seen some cost cutting, has seen some compromise. With the Magnite specifically, so you have a 1 liter turbocharged petrol, yes, which is, that's something that's the industry standard because all of them have turbo petrols.
And if you want some numbers, that generates about 100 horsepower.
Yeah, 100 horsepower and
60
Newton meter of torque.
which is pretty decent.
Not too bad, not too good.
Yeah.
The disappointment in my side, right? So, is that there is a 1 liter naturally aspirated petrol. And I feel that a compact SUV, right? This will be the smallest engine on offer.
For
Rather,
a compact
it
SUV.
is also likely to have the least power
Yeah.
output and torque output because I don't get this logic. Nissan had a Micra with a 1.2 petrol, also naturally aspirated. Datsun Go also has a 1.2 liter petrol, right? Now, what was the rationale behind giving the Magnite a 1 liter petrol, right? The idea for a small displacement, small engine, small size engine with a turbo is to give you a replacement for a bigger engine, right? Instead of having a 1.5, you can have a 1 liter turbo or a 1.2 liter turbo.
Okay.
So, that's on the engine side. The transmission side, you have a 5-speed manual and you have a CVT.
Okay.
And now, in general, right, Honda has CVT, Toyota has CVT. I think Hyundai recently started having CVTs in the i20, which is called the iVT.
Right.
Seltos also has an iVT. Now, this CVT of Nissan is called the Xtronic.
Okay.
The Kicks also has an Xtronic. The
right.
Duster also has an Xtronic. No other compact SUV has CVTs.
Oh yes.
Right, all of them have dual clutch transmissions. They have an AMT. There is no CVT.
But I want to know, is it loud as some of the?
Oh yeah, that's what was kind
Most
of.
important.
It was surprisingly silent. And
There
frankly
you have
speaking,
it. I mean, that's
no,
all you
usually
need.
in a CVT you'll have this whine, right?
Yeah.
You'll have this what you call a transmission whine. You have
You wanna make that sound.
something like that, right? So bad impression, but you'll even get it in a manual transmission also, right? But this one was completely silent, and of course not silent on the outside, but silent on the inside. So again, compromise. Not for the
I've had some
occupants.
really bad. I mean, do you remember the Nissan Sunny with the CVT?
Yeah.
Did it have a CVT?
Yeah, it did. It was
Do you
1.2.
remember how loud it used to be?
It was a loud engine. So this one is surprisingly silent, right? And I would say if you're looking for an auto transmission, compact SUV, the Magnite has to be there in your list.
Anything about the fuel
Talking
economy?
about the fuel economy. So we drove from Velachery to Mahabalipuram, right? And Mahabs is not something that's crazy on as a highway. I recorded a 15.9 kmpl with the CVT. And
In drive mode?
In drive mode and parts in sport
Average
mode as
speed?
well. Maybe around 80. right? And the buzzer would keep coming in because of the speed warning. But yeah, anyway, and the manual I got a 16.6, so that's
not much of a
surprisingly. I mean, 1 liter turbo petrol and 16.6 is a great figure.
Right. It's confusing. It's a difficult choice to make. I can only imagine a person who wants to do a sulfometer. What is he going to go through? You know?
I feel bad for this buyer, but closest competition is going to be the Tata Nexon, purely because of pricing, right? The Magnite could undercut the Nexon by a huge margin because sources say, or rather leaked information
so while
says.
filming this, we do not have access to the exact prices.
We don't have, it's not out
We are
yet.
trying to do it
So,
beforehand.
but according to leaked information, the prices for the Magnite 1 liter naturally aspirated engine starts off at 5.5. 5 ex showroom, of course, 5.5 lakh ex showroom price, and that you're looking at maybe 6.2 or 6.3 on road, and I think that's brilliant pricing because
I can't imagine that.
Because-
I can't imagine someone paying 5.
Yeah,
That's the quid category, dude.
exactly, dude. So you're looking at a person now thinking of a Neos or something like that, thinking, why not Magnite, right? So that's the impact that the Magnite's pricing is going to create. But of course, we need to look at it as a SUV. But
The EcoSport?
EcoSport is SUV, the compact
It's
SUV
the
out
same,
there.
yeah.
It's going to be starting off much higher, but okay, I think it sort of caters to a different audience altogether.
And the Sonnet?
Sonnet is there, Sonnet's 1.2 is there, Venue is 1.2 naturally again coming along with it. The Honda WRV, the Mahindra XUV 300.
There is no favorite child, so to speak, yet.
It's okay.
In
Popularity wise, yes, there could be a few. You know, you always. I mean, the Venue and Sonnet have taken over
Venue
a lot
is
of things.
doing, yeah.
Nexons are doing really well. Mahindra not so much. Honda not so much. Ford moderate. But I think the Magnite, of course, a lot of it depends on pricing and how they fit it in. But once it comes in, it's going to sort of break that market, segregate it even further, and say, listen, you have the high spots, I'll have the low spots.
But my question is, I've already decided to buy a compact SUV.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to select from that. I think it's
In the Magnite's case, it's
Yeah.
going to be a hatchback buyer thinking, why hatchback? Compact SUV it is. I think that's what's going to happen.
We'll see
Yeah.
if it stands the test of time, and let's see how that works.
Absolutely.
But it's been great talking to you guys about the Nissan Magnite. Magnite.
It is going to be a magnet
Hope
for
it's a magnet.
correct, yeah, for buyers, of course. But we
Thank
never
you so
know.
much,
Yeah.
guys. My name
Thank
is
you so
Rajiv
much.
from cargreetings.com.
This is Vignesh from trycarpal.com.
And we are Garage 101, and we'll see you next week with brand new content. Thank you so much for watching once again.